Judas, Traitor or Instrument of God, by Mauricio Perez. Forward. Undoubtedly, Judas Iscariot is the most enigmatic person in the Gospels. In the New Testament, perhaps he competes with the second beast of the book of Revelation, the one whose number is 666. I have already written a whole book about this beast. It seems to me that it's now time to dedicate a few pages to whom everyone acknowledges to be the most ruinous traitor in history. He betrayed no other than Jesus. And he did it from the inside, because he was one of his 12 apostles. Many wonder if Judas worked on his own accord, or if he was predestined by God to betray his master, and in that way trigger, as a domino effect, the passion and death of Jesus on the cross, and then his resurrection, and thus redeem the whole world. There are some who confuse this Judas with Judas Thaddeus, commonly known in English as Jude, another of the 12 apostles. I remember with a smile one day, riding the bus to college, when a high school girl took out of her wallet a card with a picture of the patron saint of lost causes and asked me very worried how it was that we asked for the intercession of the apostle who had betrayed Jesus. In the case of the Iscariot, he has piqued the curiosity of those who believe in God and those who do not, of theologians and artists and of many writers. He has even played the starring role in the famous rock opera Jesus Christ Superstar that intends to tell the last days of Jesus from the perspective of Judas, according to Tim Rice. I don't know if due to the paintings or maybe the movies, we usually imagine Judas as a thin individual, with an aquiline nose and a pointed beard. When I was a child, in the entrance procession to the evening mass of the Lord's Supper on Holy Thursday, I always wondered which of the 12 parishioners disguised as apostles was Judas. I looked for the one who had an eagle nose and pointy beard, and resolved in my mind he was representing the infamous traitor. And if he stared back at me like saying, "What do you want?" I had no doubt he was the one. In the following pages we'll try to penetrate the mind of this mysterious apostle through the texts of the Gospels and the Acts of the Apostles. After reflecting on the details that each of the books of the New Testament provide, we may have to speculate a little to try to understand what motivated one of the 12 to betray his master definitively. Trying to understand what led Judas to betray Jesus is not an idle exercise. Judas was one of the 12. Jesus called him friend, and as we will see later, he was perhaps one of the favorite disciples, if not the favorite, of his master. It is not foolish to assume that Judas loved Jesus. He even took his own life after betraying his master and realizing what he had caused. As believers, it is clear that we love Jesus and that we strive to take up our cross and follow him every day. But no one can deny that despite our purest intentions, sooner or later we all fall and betray our master. Judas has a bit of all of us, because at the end of the day, we all betray our Lord. Of Judas Iscariot, everyone believes to know the following: that he was an apostle who sold Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, gave him a kiss at the Garden of Olives, returned the coins to the priests of the temple and died, hanging himself from a tree. But if we make a hermeneutical reading of Judas in the 4 Gospels and in the Acts of the Apostles, and also in the Old Testament, what we discover when we build his true profile is amazing. Judas Iscariot, in collaborating with the Jewish authorities, was part of a conspiracy against Jesus. It is not unfair to consider such plot to end the life of Jesus of Nazareth one of the most vile crimes in history. Thus, investigating Judas is a little, or a lot, like investigating a crime suspect. And the exercise of writing this book turned out to be something similar. When I began to investigate inside the Gospels and the Acts of the Apostles, I realized that I was collecting testimonies from different witnesses, just as detectives do when they analyze a crime. It was about finding a motive for betrayal, comparing testimonies, identifying coincidences that confirmed what one and the other said, discovering inconsistencies, and with all the data, outlining the profile of the suspect. These pages are the result of this fascinating research, which I share with great pleasure. The texts cited are taken from the New American Bible. We can't disregard Peter's betrayal, which also has a lot on its own. Peter even denied.